Alright, hello once again. This is Jeff Scott of Rankin Technical College, and I'm about to start on a new endeavor here. This is for people, basically, who have completed their first semester at Rankin Technical College in the Application and Web Development Program, AWD. And so far they have taken the AWD1100 class, where they learned HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and jQuery. All right, now we're going into AWD1100 Programming Fundamentals with C#. As it says, this course offers an introduction to writing programs that demonstrate the C# programming language and also OOP, or object-oriented programming techniques. Students develop key programming concepts and logic focused on problem-solving skills that will translate into real-world application. The course will also help students begin to understand and demonstrate code debugging skills. Hands-on applications will allow students to get the foundation needed for application development. All right, so that is the course that I'm going to be working with. Now, that said, the book that we're going to be using for that course is right here. All right, we can make it a little smaller. Okay. I have not used this book before, but I've used the same book for Visual C# 2015. It's by an author named Joyce Farrell. She's got a fairly easy-to-read writing style. I think it's a good book. You may or may not agree as we go on. The book itself, just so you know, let's see, how do we do that? Come on. Okay. The book itself has 14 chapters in it. And I'd like to show you those, but let's bring this back up. All right, so here's the book, and as I quickly, hopefully quickly, show you the table of contents. Well, I guess it's not letting me. So I'll tell you what. I'll just tell you what the table of contents is. If this book is lacking in anything, it's the fact that there's no database coverage. So I'll have to add my own database coverage when we get to that point. Chapter 1, which we're going to go over in a matter of minutes, is the first program using C#. Chapter 2 is using data. Chapter 3 is using GUI, or Graphical User Interface Objects, and the Visual Studio IDE. Chapter 4 is making decisions. Chapter 5 is looping. Chapter 6 is using arrays. Chapter 7 is using methods. Chapter 8 is advanced method concepts. Chapter 9, using classes and objects. Chapter 10, introduction to inheritance. Chapter 11, exception handling. Chapter 12, using controls. Chapter 13, handling events. And finally, Chapter 14, files and streams. There are also three appendices. Appendix A is on operator precedence and associativity. Appendix B is on understanding numbering systems and computer codes. And Appendix C is on using the IDE, or Integrated Development Environment Editor. All right, so we're going to go over Chapter 1 first, and it's a typical type of Chapter 1 that you'll find in many books. In other words, it tries to give you an overall view of what we'll be talking about. But it's, for lack of better words, it's the 30,000-foot level. All right? So I'm right here. This is their first slide, is right here. And I just modified it so we've got this. So you'll see this at the beginning of each chapter once I create those slides for each chapter. So with that said, there's about 40 to 45 slides typically per chapter, and this chapter is no exception. So this was a very quick intro. My hope is with an 80-day class that we will get through this material in approximately 10 weeks. So in about 50 days. Now, when you think about it, that's pretty out there, because that's about 3 chapters a week. All right? We'll see how it works as we get going. It's not my intention to see how fast I can get through this stuff, but I would like to give you some time to go over databases and much of the material that you'll find in here is going to be review for those of you who have taken the AWD1100 Web Technologies class. Now, not all of you in this class have, so we will be going over all of the concepts again. So, review is never a bad thing. So I'll be back in just a couple minutes with Chapter 1, the first program using C#.